I'm Ashton Slutsky, and this is my tribute speech. This is my audience. Everybody. Hey, Charity.
I know, it's just like...
Alright. He spent his life devoted to change the world, and for that, Martin Luther King Jr. is the only person besides President George Washington whose birthday is observed as a national federal holiday. When President Reagan signed this bill. King was born on January 15, 1929, in Atlanta, Georgia. He was the first son and the second eldest, with his older sister, Christine King, and his younger brother, Alfred Daniel, better known as A.D. King. His parents, Martin Luther King Sr. and mother, Alberta Williams King, named him Michael Luther King Jr. Just after 5 years of his birth, his father traveled overseas and became influenced by Martin Luther, the Protestant Reformation leader, and later changed his name to Martin Luther King Sr. and his son's name to Martin Luther King Jr. Just at the age of 15, after skipping grades 9 and 12, or 9th grade and 12th grade, enrolled into college at Morehouse, where both his father and his grandfather attended school. There he obtained his bachelor's degree in sociology. Little did he know he was going to change the world. Later, he received his doctorate in theology in 1955 at Boston University, where he met a young woman and married her, bearing 4 children. 2 sons and 2 daughters, Martin Luther King III, Yolanda King, Dexter Scott, and Bernice King. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. later became a pastor at a local Baptist church in his hometown. After the arrest of Rosa Parks for refusing to give up her seat on the bus, the head of the NAACP met with King and the others to plan a citywide bus boycott, later known as the Montgomery Bus Boycott. King was jailed 29 times in his life for acts of civil disobedience and trumped-up charges. One of his arrests occurred when he was going 30 miles an hour in a 25 zone in Montgomery, Alabama. On April 16, 1963, King was arrested while himself and others were protesting the treatment of blacks in Birmingham. While in jail, he wrote his famous Letter from Birmingham, where he said, "Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. We are caught in an inescapable network, mutually tied in a single garnet of destiny. Whatever affects one directly affects all indirectly. Never again can we afford to live with narrow outside agitator idea. Anyone who lives inside the United States can never be considered an outsider anywhere within its bounds." Later the same year, on August 28th, King presented his I Have a Dream speech at Lincoln Memorial, which was not his first speech at the memorial. He previously spoke during the prayer pilgrimage for freedom, addressing voting rights, 6 years before, where he said the words that would last a lifetime. It is obvious today that America has defaulted on the promissory note insofar as a citizen of color are concerned. Instead of honoring this sacred obligation, America has given the Negro people a bad check, a check that has become bad and marked as significant funds. But we refuse to believe that the Bank of Justice is bankrupt. We refuse to believe that there are insufficient funds in the great vaults of opportunity of this nation. And so we've come to cash this check, a check that will give us, upon a demand, the riches of freedom and the security of justice. He uses a bounce check as an example of how blacks were treated and how they will come back from being declined. They will not give up, for they know the worth of that check. His worth is shown when he makes the statement in this speech, "I have a dream, that one day on the red hills of Georgia, sons of former slaves and the sons of former slave owners will be able to sit down together at the table of brotherhood." He looks to the future for the faith of mankind, to find peace in their heart and to let go of the hate and the fury held against African Americans who are offering forgiveness to have an equal chance in this world. As said in the second paragraph of the Declaration of Independence, we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. King included this excerpt from the document that was signed in 1776 by 56 people and still today is a governing document. It is said that the excerpt was used in his speech to show that they all agreed men were created equal and that they should all be treated equal no matter the color of their skin or their social well-being. Then in 1965, an event called Bloody Sunday occurred, which started as a voting registration led to a bloodbath. On April 3, 1968, a day before his death, he gave his final speech, I've been to the mountaintop in which he told his supporters at the Mason Temple in Memphis. I've seen the promised land. I may not get there with you, but I want you to know tonight that we, as the people, will get to the promised land. Dr. Martin Luther King was assassinated on April 4th, 1968, when he was shot in the neck while standing on his balcony by Earl Ray. He later died at St. Joseph's Hospital due to a gunshot. He wanted to live his life in the footsteps of Gandhi, the word, be the change you wish to see in the world. He lived every day to give a chance for change and for what he believed was right. Dr. Martin Luther King will always be remembered as a man who struggled to change the nation. This is my dance.
Thanks, guys.